Hello and welcome to another video with me, Sutekh of Mars, and as dictated by the title, today we're going to be taking a look at my top 5 new episodes. Now, we've had a lot of classic content in the past few days on this channel, and correspondingly I thought let's integrate some new into them. So yes, without further ado, let us begin. So at number 5 is the Series 1 finale, Bad Wolf Passing the Ways. What a finale it was. Allow me to pacify myself and present some vindication. Well, to begin, the game station itself, it's just such a marvellous contemplation and is ingeniously executed on screen, with realistic sets and believable side characters. Of course, the side characters being an exceedingly imperative constituent in contributing to the conceivability of the whole episode. So yes, a marvellous set and some excellent side characters, most notably Linda with a Y, is incredibly relatable for the audience and provides a new female role opposed to Rose Tyler. Murray Gold's contribution just enhances the Daleks and the Nations episode, their absolute barbarosity, the Daleks being obviously the main antagonists of this story. So yes, it just absolutely enhances their barbarosity, their pugnation, and menation, and the notion invigorated by his music is inconceivable, incomprehensible, extraordinary. And furthermore, the Daleks are obviously depicted to be maniacal in the story, going back to classic. Yes, they're depicted to be maniacal in the story of the most prominent line, they hate their own existence. That makes them more dangerous than ever. I'm lost for words, and that is not a particularly pertinent occurrence, I assure you of that. It's just masterfully written by Russell T Davies, and creatures that despise their own existence. That's horrifying. That is unfathomable fear induced just that one line, hate their own existence. And moreover, Christopher Eccleston's performance, as in the entirety of Series 1, is utterly extraordinary, unsurpassed, unsuperseded, irrefutably wonderful. The emotion, his absolute rebukement of the Dalek race, his dispisal of them, his fear, is phenomenal, and is clearly perceived on screen. It's absolutely exquisite, so marvellous. And of course, we see the return of the Emperor Dalek in this episode after its last appearance in Evil of the Daleks. And once again, it's just such a menacious figure, so barbarous and intelligent, but most specifically, there's one attribute that not only reinvigorates or stimulates emotion in you, really effectuates emotion, but it's incredibly ominous, almost disturbing. Because obviously the Emperor Dalek in the serial, I'm doing it again, story, the Emperor Dalek in the story, he has philosophies, anyway, so he has these sort of philosophies, believing that he is the god, these Daleks are the angels that will cleanse the earth. Inspired such a twisted and maniacal philosophy that's positively enthralling on screen, and the interaction between the Ninth Doctor and the Dalek Emperor, once again his absolute rebuking of his fear and his despisal of these creatures, particularly the Dalek Emperor, is just extraordinary, absolutely entrancing. And finally, of course, the final regeneration scene, the Ninth Doctor into the 10th Doctor, as portrayed by David Tennant, is exceedingly emotional, effectuates immeasurable emotion in me, almost makes me cry. In fact, it did once, I believe. And it's most probably one of my favourite generation scenes ever, with Christopher, as I've written down here, acting out of his skin. And overall, this episode was fantastic. You know what? So was he. So that is number 5, the Bad Wolf Passing the Ways. And at number 4 is The Empty Child with Doctor Dances, once again another Series 1 episode. So another Christopher story elegantly graces this list with its presence, and for certainly incontrovertible vindication. The setting of World War One is wonderfully ominous and really does enhance the fear factor for the audience and of the entire story, with incontrovertibly terrifying villains of the gas mask zombies and the empty child. Now, I must concede, although obviously I was a lot older when Series 3 came along, I was I always remember being far more scared of the empty child and far more scared of the empty child than the weeping angels, irrefutably so. And most specifically, the scene in which Dr. Constantine is converted is utterly grotesque, morbid, and it terrified me, scared the living daylights out of me as a kid, and so too my cousin. It was just utterly horrifying. And obviously masterfully executed on screen. I mean, even the effects look admirable in today's standards. It's just one of the greatest scenes in New Who, from my perception. And once again, yes, the fear is certainly of a maximum aptitude, which I love unreservedly. And I believe the fear factor is an attribute that's been lost in recent times in the Doctor Who universe. And I think it's exceedingly imperative to integrate the fear factor, really horrify the audience, and correspondingly invigorate emotion, which is what is required for absolute entrancement into the show. And that's what Russell T, even though this was written by Moffat, yeah, but that's what Russell T did so well, and that's what Moffat did in the Russell T era. I can't say the same for his era. But anyway, yes, fear factor. The introduction of Captain Jack Harkness is incredibly enjoyable, and he is obviously a character I am exceedingly fond of, as are much of the Whovian community. And yes, he instantaneously entered the secluded realms of the greatest companion in Doctor Who's history, with first perception, and moreover, he complements Christopher Eccleston, and Billie Piper superbly on screen, and the two increase the overall quality of the story. And lastly, despite Dr. Constantine forgiving me if that's correctly, sorry, I'm just reading this out. Transformation scene being both grotesque and wonderful. The scene in which the Doctor reverts the gas mask zombies to normality with the nanogenes is just exceedingly sincere. And the concept of saving everyone in otherwise absolutely abominable surroundings in World War II is utterly extraordinary, and it really does stimulate the conception of this is Doctor Who, the Doctor saving the day, saving everyone's life, and being the Doctor. Just this once, everyone lives. Everybody lives first. Yeah, and as always, his performance is exquisite, Christopher. Incontrovertibly marvellous, indubitably so, and it just really makes me desire Christopher to have another appearance in Doctor Who. If he had a second series, I'm certain he'd either be my second or my favourite Doctor. But alas, he's merely my fifth favourite Doctor, in correspondence with his early seasons. So, at number 4 we have the Empty Child, the Doctor Dances. And in at number 3 is the Waters of Mars. Where to begin with this exquisite concoction? Although some may consider the episode to be minimally controversial in correlation to the 10th Doctor's cavalcade of him being the Time Lord victorious, etc., this holds an exceedingly heralded place in my preferences. I unreservedly love this story, and once again for indisputable vindication. And what really formulates my fondness for the story is the supporting cast, another attribute that I think is imperative in the Doctor Who story. All of them possessing unique personalities, and by presenting differentiating personalities and a backstory for each of these characters, one actually becomes invested in their presence, and correspondingly their demises are all the more influential. And once again, this is an attribute I believe has been lost from Doctor Who in Moffat's reign. because in the Russell T era, he always provided his characters some form of backstory, some sort of personality that we could either relate to, loathe, or be exceedingly fond of. And like I said, once a character has a backstory, or an interesting personality, one becomes invested in these characters, meaning they have more care for them when they perish. And particularly in this story, that is done wonderfully. And the scene depicting Steffi Ulrich, I think her name is, her demise, obviously occurs within a sort of communication chamber where she's staring at videos of her sisters, I believe, younger sisters, as she perishes and the water envelops her and she has no means of evasion. She's utterly incarcerated by the water. She's looking at her sisters crying. The power of that scene. I'm tearing up just contemplating. The power of that. Oh, I actually am. Wow. The power of that scene is just incalculable. Utterly incalculable. So good. And the demises of these characters are all executed wonderfully, and the emotion induced is really what contributes to my fondness for the story. Further, the character of Edelaine Brooke is wonderfully written and primary contributing to the story's progression with her future and the Doctor's judgment in question. Additionally, the antagonists of the Flood are such a unique design and are actually horrifying for all ages, therefore enthralling and enamoring on the screen. And poses a substantial threat to the Doctor and the supporting cast, penetrating the parameters of the greatest Doctor Who villain. And once again, I believe that the story was somewhat criticised for being far too scary. And indeed, it's absolutely horrifying, and that's why I love it so very much. Particularly, like I said, the antagonists of Flood are very, very scary. And finally, by now, you probably deduced that I do enjoy depictions of the Doctor's weakness. I don't want him to be incessantly preeminent, always saving the day, because obviously that becomes predictable. And he actually displays him, in this story in particular, actually possessing fallibility. And with David at his indisputable best, one will inevitably... Sorry, I'm reading off a piece of paper and I haven't written it very well. But anyway, in the story, the Doctor possesses great fallibility and weakness. He shows fear. And when the Doctor displays fear, and if it's portrayed wonderfully as did David Tennant, and not only induces fear in the audience of the creatures or whatever's occurring, but in the Doctor himself. It's not a particularly frequent occurrence, but it's done marvellously. So, at number 3, The Waters of Mars. And in at number 2, somewhat a surprising choice to many of you, I expect, is Rise of the Cybermen, Rise of the Cybermen, The Age of Steel. So yes, once again I expect you're rather baffled to see this story, but once again, allow me to articulate justification. I cannot view this story too many times, and correspondingly I present immeasurable praise, but first of all, the introduction of the Cybermen to New Who, although frequently criticised by classic fans, is simply unsurpassed, as a realisation of the concept is exceedingly intriguing and certainly surprisingly different to that of the 10th Planet Cybermen, as they were originally introduced. Their ferocity, vacant gazes, and ominous absence of emotion is executed brilliantly, residing as terribly chilly, as they are pugnacious and computing and barbarous and cold. And finally, just the mere way their verisimilitude of being superior to humans is undefeatable becomes incredibly scary. And I still believe the Parallel Universe Cybermen are some of the best, and Rise of the Cybermen Age of Steel portrays them exceedingly well, however much they may be criticised. Moreover, I should reference, like I said, I'm very fond of the Parallel Cyberman design. I slightly prefer the 80s Cyberman design, but I still think the Parallel Universe is wonderful. In Revenge of the Parallel Universe, I really enjoyed the concept of being multiple universes, and the way they subtly integrate the minimal differences as comes akin to parallel universes in this reality is done once more greatly. Furthermore, John Lumick, as portrayed by the late and great Roger Lloyd Pack, is a fabulous character, more so when he becomes converted into the Cyber Controller, which is an equivalently wonderful design. With his insanity, his maniacality, and utter reluctance to be defeated. No, of course I do. Lastly, what really contributes to my fondness of this story is the real ambition in relinquishing any worries when tampering with ethicality and emotion. With Mrs. Moore's spontaneous death, that should be interesting, the converting the innocent humans and the accompanying screams of pain, and the subsequent demise of hundreds of Cybermen having realized what they've become, really coercing oneself to just stop. I think. Such a good episode. Criminally underrated. So good. And at last we reach number 1. And at number 1 is another Series 2 story, The Impossible Planet and the Satan Pit. Another story I perceive to be somewhat underrated. And once again, to begin with this, I am lost for words. Lost for words. What you all know is not particularly pertinent appearance. I'm a man of many words. But there are seemingly countless, inconceivably masterful attributes of this story that I could divulge to justify my preference, but that would require another whole document or another video. And consequently, I'll merely concentrate upon the 3, the Ood, the Beast, and the supporting cast. To begin, the Ood are not only a remarkable idea, but the prosthetics of these characters is horrifyingly realistic, which thus makes the fear factor all the more prominent, with the engrossing ventilation scene positively traumatizing me as a child, and do still persist in haunting me today with exhilaration and fulfillment of fear. Only a few emotions induced in this epic story. Yes, these ventilation scenes traumatized me as a kid. I had nightmares about that, where the Ood are crawling through the ventilation scenes attempting to catch Rose, Danny, Toby, and Mr. Jefferson. Extraordinary. Equivalently, the Beast. Apologies for the euphemism, but oh my freaking god, Beast. Voiced by some person called Gabriel Wolf. No idea who. But anyway, voiced by him, the antagonist is certainly one of the greatest creatures who have ever appeared in television, with a satanic, pun very much intended, eloquent voice, repugnant aesthetics, and an intelligence equivalent or perhaps even superseding that of the Doctor. To refer to him as a formidable foe wouldn't be an understatement, it would be a blasphemy. Pun very much intended again. Just such a marvellous villain indeed. Moreover, simplistically, the story's utilisation of the question of religion is incredibly provocative, simultaneously manipulating one into believing in the devil's existence, ergo, configuring the beast to be all the more terrifying. Last but not least, similarly to the Waters of Mars, sorry, I've lost my train of thought. Similarly to the Waters of Mars, without the marvellous supporting cast, this story certainly wouldn't reside where it does within my rating. With great individual personalities and actual backstories, making it implausible not to become emotionally invested and yell vigorously at one TV as they perish. And finally, I should reference, as usual, David and Billy's portrayals of the Doctor and Rose are impeccable. And the scenes between the Doctor and the physical beast, the body of the beast, are very similar to the entirety of the story, nothing less than glorious. So that concludes my top 5 New Who stories. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video and acknowledge me in the comment section below of your top 5 and your opinions and mine. But before I go, I would just like to mention, for this I have been using my posts on an app called Whovians Amino. Now Whovians Amino is a social media site specifically dedicated to Doctor Who and all of the realms surrounding it. And if you're a zealous Doctor Who fan, I would recommend it unreservedly. Go check it out. It's on the App Store, Whovians Amino, completely free. and I'll hope to gain your follow, and you'll certainly receive one back, my name being Sutekh of Mars. So yes, that concludes this video. Join me next time. We'll be taking a look at another action figure ranking, this time top 5 Dalek figures.